Welcome back to another edition of By the Numbers. I'm your go-to guy for all things numerical within this space, Charles Anderson, Business Intelligence Officer for EazyBot. Let's take a quick peek at some of our performance since launch in 2022. Did you know? The top 14 countries as determined by number of EazyBot users is number 1, United States. 25% of our user base coming from the United States. Second, we have Germany, 12.94% coming out of Germany. And then France, Canada, the UK, Poland, Spain, Switzerland, Austria, Australia, Hungary, Philippines, UAE, and topping off in the 14th place, Algeria. What country will our next leader come from? From which country will our next legacy builder or Founders Club inductee originate? Did you know the United States and Germany are battling for dominance? 22.83% of trade profit for users is generated by our subscribers from the United States. 22.64% is generated by our subscribers from Germany. And kudos to Team Germany for its tenacity and its translations. Did you know, since launch in 2022, we show significant growth in our active bot count year over year. We saw a 17.5% increase between 2022 and 2023 for average year performance. We are currently at an 11.38% increase in active bot count versus launch year and trending positive, on track to surpass our first year performance. And it's only the first quarter. Did you know that with the help of our dedicated EazyBot community members, we've surpassed our record number of VIP subscriptions posted June of 2022 by over 25% in only 25 days. We've also outperformed our 2023 VIP subscription production rate in just 1 month by over 21%. The product features of EazyBot are simply attractive and affordable to many of the crypto curious and consistent and safe for the novel blockchain investor. Did you know during the crypto winter of 2022, EazyBot users experienced a level 5 profit factor? This means that in a given month, a user may have spent a certain amount on software service fees. Let's say $20, for example. That same user, having profit factor of 5, obtained about $100 in profit from the trading activity of their EazyBot portfolio. We saw a 22% increase in our profit factor ratios in 2023, when users on average saw 6 times greater profit than what they paid in software service fees. In quarter 1 of this year, our users are seeing an average PF or profit factor of 7.5. We're on pace to see an average PF over level 8 for March 2024. Also note that 42% of the software service fees collected by EazyBot was redistributed to members of the community that are supporting the growth of the EazyBot project and proliferation of the EazyBot product globally via their efforts with the Affiliate Rewards program. Affiliate Rewards members, we thank you. Did you know that when we think about the performance of a profit production product like EazyBot, especially and specifically during adverse market conditions, we like to have something to which we can compare that performance, a gauge of sorts. Consider the S&P 500. The S&P 500 index is a market capitalization weighted index of 500 leading U.S. publicly traded companies, officially named in 1957 by Standard & Poor's. It's widely regarded as a gauge of the U.S. stock market's performance and a proxy for large cap equities. The S&P 500 is a stock market index that is viewed as a measure of how well the stock market is performing overall. We're talking a measure of stock performance of the largest U.S. companies across 11 sectors. It offers a picture of the health of the U.S. stock market and the broader economy. Did you know that for the past 99 years, the average annual rate of return or average annual yield for the S&P 500 is about 12%? an investor may consider the potential to earn $12 for every $100 invested in a year. We've seen our AI, our algorithmic intelligence product, do much better, haven't we? The S&P 500 shows 26 years of negative returns. And let's look at 2022, the year that we launched. Where the S&P 500 shows a negative 18% drop, we're showing over a 35% gain in that same year, that crypto winter. Even while considering the start date, May 19th, 2022, through the end of the year, over that 230-day period, we're still running about 25% profit compared to the 18% negative return from the S&P 500. Phenomenal product performance. Let's take a look at a portfolio performance review for one of our users. Now, to reiterate, the average annual rate of return over the past 99 years of the S&P 500 is about 12%. Our user's portfolio has been trading for about 1 year and 9 months, starting June 9th of 2022 and running through review date of March 2nd, 2024. Now, a conservative assessment of return of investment is 46% profit, and taking out fees, you see a net gain of about 40% for the user. Definitely outperformed the S&P 500. Here's another view where, starting in June of 2022, the EazyBot product was turned on for this user, and the portfolio is accumulating gains during the crypto winter when the market is severely down. We see consistent monthly profit made by the trading activity of EazyBot, and as time progressed, the portfolio performance improved for this user as the bot auto compounds and the user makes contributions to the portfolio. Here's a view of a portfolio that's been running about 2 months, 58 days, with 8 bots having been started. The performance efficiency is what we would expect given the history of the EazyBot product. And again, we see that the average annual rate of return for the S&P 500 is about 12% for the past 99 years. This portfolio has not yet outperformed the S&P 500. Yet, consider that it has been running for 58 days, not 99 years. However, if the performance continues as such, we expect that the average annual rate of return or profit to be above 12%. Understanding that EazyBot typically does not consume all of a user's assigned trading capital, considering that same portfolio, we find that the 8.4% quoted gain is actually much higher. The trading that generated this profit only ever reached cover 14. Of the trading capital assigned, about $4,200. Only about $816 of that $4,200 was actually used in trading activity. That $816 was the capital required to generate the $352 worth of profit for this user. The resulting true gain is significantly higher than the quoted conservative gain. This is a repetitive theme for our users globally. Here's a newer portfolio, 18 days of data, having started trading February 9th, 2024, and running through review data of February 27th, 2024. With the S&P 500 average annual yield at 12.11%, this portfolio in 18 days has not yet outperformed the popular stock index. Not yet, at 1.32% net gain, after subtracting the software service fees from the 1.64% profit over 18 days. Yet, the user could expect that the portfolio could perform at 32% profit if continuing pace. But remember that repetitive thing with EazyBot where the quoted conservative gain is lower than the true gain received based on actual capital used in trade activity. This portfolio only ever reached cover 10. The actual trading capital used by EazyBot was about $46. The true gain is a little over 53%. Did you know that EazyBot launched a Bitcoin growth bot to support those who believe that Bitcoin is an excellent store of value and a valuable commodity? Our Bitcoin growth bot allows users to turn some Bitcoin into a bigger bag of Bitcoin over time, with or without the user ever adding Bitcoin to their bag through traditional means such as dollar cost averaging. As shown in our corporate portfolio, the Bitcoin growth bot will always outperform the passive hodler. And consider that if a user is adding to their Bitcoin holdings via the DCA method, that same user can multiply their DCA efforts by large magnitudes simply by dollar cost averaging while the Bitcoin growth bot builds up their bag. The added benefit of a Bitcoin boost strategy, an additional engine or accelerant. It's like the energy drink that never loses the energizing effect, the battery that never drains. Start your Bitcoin growth bot today. Build your bag with our bot.